Okay, today we're going to check out something a little different. We're going to head over to CoinGecko.com, a new web page that's in beta. And they track the coins a little bit differently. They don't always only use market cap. They also have liquidity, developer activity on the GitHub, community activity, and public interest. Of course, this isn't going to be exactly how much public interest and exactly how active the community is, but they're using a lot of different ways to measure it, and I think it's interesting to take a look. So let's do that. Here we have market cap. We all know how that works. It's pretty easy. Liquidity, it's also pretty interesting. Source code, repository activity. So we got here how many people are watching the GitHub, merged pull requests, how many contributors, and total commits in the last 4 weeks. So for Bitcoin, there were 197 commits in the last 4 weeks. So that's a good amount. Social media and discussion board community. All right, so we got Reddit, subscribers, Facebook likes, and Twitter followers. Of course, you could fake some of this stuff, but it's just to give you an impression about how active the community is. And public interest, well, they're using Bing web results, probably because the API is easier to deal with than Google, and the Elixir ranking of the website, which is a kind of ranking that takes into account how many links are to the web page and how many likely visitors they have. So if I want to go to the total complete metric, they add all of these things up and they make their own kind of number 1, number 2, and they've got Bitcoin and Dogecoin at number 2 and 3, Litecoin, 4 Ripple, 5 Darkcoin, 6 BitShares X. Of course, if you're a BitShares X person, you think, oh, that's horrible and that's wrong. And if you hate Dogecoin, you probably think that's the stupidest thing ever. But it's just one way to look at it. What is cool is that you can isolate each one. So I can look at just market cap. Then we're going to have Bitcoin at number 1. And I believe right now Ripple is going to be at number 2. Let's wait till it loads. Please ignore this ad at the top. All right, and then we've got liquidity. I'm not going to get into that. I do think the developer one is quite interesting. Liquidity is interesting too, but usually people don't take the time to go to GitHub and see what's going on. And actually Ripple has a whole lot of activity, and so does Counterparty, Doge. So it's not just a dog. People are actually doing stuff. Stellar has a lot of activity. Mastercoin, MadeSafe, BitShares X, Litecoin. So people are really working on those coins a lot. Community. How active is the community on Reddit? How active is the community on Twitter? Well, of course, Doge is really active, but look, check this out. Redcoin is really active. Litecoin. Vertcoin is really active. Darkcoin. Blackcoin is really active. Potcoin is really active. So Potcoin is number 37 on the CoinGecko overall metrics, but they're pretty high up in community activity, and they're pretty low compared to a lot of others in market cap, but they have a decent community, it looks like. These are the kind of things that you could check out. You can also look at public interest. That's what we're basically looking at when I do the search trends using Google Insights, but today we're going to do it a little differently. And so they've calculated how many searches are in Bing and the Elixir ranking for the main website. Again, some people are really good at SEO and get a lot of links, so their Elixir ranking is going to be higher. It doesn't necessarily say there's a lot of public interest, but it is just one way to benchmark it. Stellar is number 2, for example. Hey, maybe there is a lot of interest in Stellar. I have no idea. I'm not interested in Stellar, but I guess a lot of other people are. Of course, there's a lot of interest in Doge. There's interest in Litecoin, Ripple. Minerals. What the hell is that? I mean, for example, I think that's the problem that you come into when you use search results, because maybe that's just searching for minerals in general and not the cryptocurrency using X11. Hyper. Are they looking, is it searches right over here for Hyper, or are it really searches for Hyperstake? I don't know. Next Horizon, Razor, NXT, etc. So anyway, I wanted to show you that, and if I can make some nice charts with this information, if CoinGecko gets an API, I think that would be really interesting. Of course, I could try to use all of these APIs, but if they develop a central API where you can call all of these things, then that would make life a lot easier. All right, and that's going to be it for this part of trends. Trading news. Darkcoin shows a strong rally after a long continual downturn. Razor coin looks like it slit its own wrists and is still bleeding out large red candles. That's it for trading news. Welcome to Transmission today with David Zimbeck. Hi, David.
Hi, how are you doing?
Great, thanks. So, I wanted to talk to you about, first of all, I wanted to talk to you about Blackcoin and about what I heard, multi-signature staking, being able to stake coins that are in cold storage. It sounds pretty interesting because a lot of criticism of proof-of-stake coins is that you have to have the coins in some kind of hot wallet in order to stake them, typically. And if I was able to stake proof-of-stake coins that are stored in cold storage, that sounds pretty interesting, and I haven't heard of anyone else doing that. And maybe we need to just go back, and can you please explain what is the purpose of staking coins, what is proof-of-stake, and what are, in your opinion, some of the advantages?
Okay, so first of all, staking is a way of securing the network by generating interest on your money. So they give the incentive for people to stay connected, and in order to do that, you have to be able to spend on the network. And the only way to spend is to sign, and the only way to do that is to take the password off of your keys. So some people feel like that's a security risk if they have a lot of money, and they feel uncomfortable about not having their keys password protected while they're connected to their computer. On the other hand, staking is energy efficient, and it doesn't require billions of dollars of mining gear to money into 51% tax, because it's harder to have more than 50% of the money than it is to have 50% of the computer power. Because once supercomputers start dominating the world, they will be able to break Bitcoin.
Okay, so that's it. All right, let's go back a little bit. So that's basically talking a little bit about mining centralization and about 51% attacks and so on. So I want to just go back and talk about a proof-of-stake coin that had some issues and they had to fork. So earlier this year, the infamous exchange MintPal was hacked, and somebody stole somehow a whole bunch of Vericoin. Vericoin is a proof-of-stake coin, and I think they stole like 20% or 30% of the current supply that existed. But because of their staking power would have been so powerful if that was one entity, that there was a risk that they could have done some kind of attack on the network, and they decided to fork the coin because of that. So I get the point. On one hand, some people say, okay, that's a good idea, proof of stake. It's hard to get 50% of the money. That's true. But do I really need 50% of the money to do an attack on a proof of stake network anyway?
I lost 2.5 Bitcoins on MintPal. I don't trust anything they tell me. If they say that it had something to do with, staking or something, but coins go missing from their account, seems like a very convenient excuse from an exchange that just disappeared with several $1 million with a very questionable deal with MuPay, Why would they have needed to make that deal with MoPay in the first place? They were already a successful exchange, from where I'm looking. And but that said, Vericoin had to roll back the blockchain, which a lot of people didn't like because they think it goes against the ideology of cryptocurrency. But it was bound to happen. Eventually, a coin is going to try to do that in order to protect its consumers from great loss. Maybe it would have been a good idea to roll back the blockchain after Mt. Gox stole $500 million. So, I don't know. Is it easy to attack a proof-of-stake network if not enough people are staking? And the answer is yes. But it's much harder in Blackcoin because Blackcoin has proof-of-stake 2.0, which forces people to be connected much more frequently, and it doesn't allow them to take their coins and keep it off the network to build up coinage in order to tap easier. And I know that the developer Rat4 is a saint-like programmer that continues to improve the proof-of-stake protocol, including decentralized checkpointing. Checkpointing is the ability for him to check against, attacks. Bitcoin has this too, I believe, because of problems with botnets. So I really don't think that the biggest security threat is lack of people staking. I think that proof of stake will have to become more popular because of problems with mining and just dropping in Bitcoin price and lack of interest in updating people's mining gear to stay competitive. And when some supercomputer comes from out of nowhere and threatens Bitcoin, people are going to start to consider not only that, but they consider that they're spending more money to create Bitcoins than they are getting from Bitcoins. So they're damaging the economy actually by consuming more energy to make the coins and to secure the network than they ever did getting in the value of the coins themselves, which they short sell.
Sure, that could happen. Definitely, that could definitely happen. I mean, theoretically, if that really did start to happen in a major way, then the difficulty would also go down instead of up, and the older mining gear could be used again feasibly. But that's all really theoretical. But yeah, sure, it's possible, and I see your point about the proof of stake, because you don't need mining equipment. You can just use a wallet. That's true. Okay, but I'm really intrigued about this here. It's called multisig staking. So just explain to us what that means, multisig stake. Is that the right term? I mean, I got that from Reddit. I think that was your post. I'm not sure if that was from Twitter or from your post on Reddit, but they were calling it multisig staking, and I think that's related to this being able to stake with cold storage coins, right?
Right. On my website, I call it cold staking, although it's not technically cold because you have two locations that are used to stake. But maybe you have a server, maybe you have a virtual machine, maybe you could use Blackcoin's been working for a very long time on Blackbox. Maybe you use a little hardware box to stake your second half. You could use a cell phone, a second computer in a different location, really anything. The point is you're using two completely unrelated computers, or you could even use 3 or 4, really, but we start with 2, and 2 unrelated locations. So a hacker would have to not only hack your network, but the network of the other location, like your cell phone or whatever. It's just impossible. And I think also this will encourage more people to stake. Actually, one of the reasons I stake is because I don't like leaving my wallet open. So if I staked, I'd have more coins in the market that would protect from centralized attacks. And, every staking using cold staking is almost impossible, I think, to hack a proof of stake network. Almost impossible.
So basically, it's not in cold storage, like you said. It's just separate storage. Like you said, I've got
Yeah.
one coin in a wallet on my Android or Mac or whatever, and I've got another one on my home PC, my tower, and it's just part of a multi-sig for that address. And of course, I'd have to have two or three in order to control the address. Correct?
Well, you have two keys. Every account in Halo uses two keys. So one key, instead of keeping both keys on the same computer, you keep one computer and one key on another computer when you want to stake.
Okay, let's back up a little.
Or okay, you could lock the other key. So like
Hold
you
on.
can have both keys on the same computer, and you just you put your password to one of them, and then the other key at the other location doesn't have a password. So they'd have to hack both locations, which is impossible. So it is pretty much better. It's actually better than cold storage because you're generating interest on your money. When you put your funds in cold storage, you can't do that. I have been talking to the developer of Blackcoin, and we're talking also about parking coins. I've been wanting to do this for an entire year, and lock time verify from Peter Todd was something I've been asking, like, why don't people have something in Bitcoin that can lock the outputs? And finally, I'm starting to see it. Like, I don't know how Nubits does it, but I'm assuming they either added that or they put their own similar thing into their coin, and it allows you to back your coin. So we could have the ability to generate interest on your funds in cold storage. We could have the ability to generate interest on your coins in hot wallets and make them completely unhackable ever. Like,
Okay, whatever. Everything is hackable.
yeah.
But I see what you mean. Okay, let's back
Well,
up.
unless somebody gets, like, if it's like a botnet and then the botnet has like keyloggers and it just gets everybody's keys and then it like tries every combination of keys. It's like, it's possible to hack, but it's just,
Yeah.
why even bother?
Okay, well let's back up a little bit because you were saying in Halo. So basically, I'm gonna for people that don't know, Bithalo, I believe it works as a multi-wallet for Bitcoin and for Blackcoin, right?
Yeah. Did you want to see screen share?
Okay, yeah, let's just do a screen share and we can talk about what a practical, for let's say we're a beginner and we want to do some staking, and I go buy some Blackcoin and I put it in my Halo, my Bithalo, and then I got to do one of these. I want to do it securely, so I want to test out your multi-signature staking. What would I do? Okay, I'm going to switch to you now.
Well, I'm going to have that being set up automatically. Right now, Halo is moving towards a much more user-friendly interface. In fact, let me show you guys, for the people that don't know. There's a wonderful, wonderful person in the community that is helping me design a new user interface. And if Photoshop would just load, I could show it to you. There we go. Okay, so this is the new user interface. It's a lot prettier. And I'll show you how I have it skinned. This is how I have it skinned. It's a little bit more of a Windows look. And the new Halo has, everything's going to be user friendly. So when you bit Halo, it's going to walk you through like you don't know what Bitcoin is.
Great.
And when you get into Bithalo, you're going to immediately see this economy. So buy, sell coins, buy, sell an item, find a job, hire somebody, barter, trade, whatever. The video library will be to help people, who don't know what they're doing. I'm having a pretty consistent on every tab now. Instead of the heavy bulky text that I used to have, I'm going to have somewhere where they can click to get explanation. Somebody was even recommending making this just a little help icon and moving it in a consistent place, like up in the corner. And that'll be on every tab. And it'll first point them to text, and then later we'll move from text to video. And additionally, you'll see here that we have an available balance, an actual balance, and then an available balance. So if you have money coming in, you know, we have like an unconfirmed transaction coming in, for example. We have our orders, we have change that we're receiving. You know, it'll reflect that on the differences between your balances so that you don't get concerned when, you know, your balance fluctuates because you're spending money. And unlike any other client now, we have a lot more control. This shows you all of your change, your inputs. And this actually is an unusual account because I usually pay myself. So I keep creating change by paying myself, but most accounts would never look like this. Then I'm going to set this up with a much more detailed history, like most, you know, clients, you know, payment or contract, you know, contract, or bought some shoes, you know, and type, you know, maybe like contract amount, right, details, and that'll all be populated. So when you do, you know, you're gonna post, you could post a job to hire somebody, you could find a job, you could buy or sell your coins, and then it'll take you straight to these markets. And here you have, you know, cash for coins, just the marketplace, job offers, employee search, bartering, miscellaneous, and there'll be a lot more added.
Okay, so let me just ask a few questions right there, right where you are. It says Night Trader at the bottom, so
yeah,
that's this, you know, decentral marketplace basically where you can use Bithalo as a kind of escrow where you don't need a middleman, correct?
right, right. It's the only way to do decentralized exchange without forking any coin. This is the only way you can do it.
Okay, so you don't have to build a meta layer on a coin like
No,
counterparty style. You're just doing
no.
it when both people have this program, then they can do it if they have internet.
Right, and they don't have to trust anyone. We don't collect a fee.
Right.
You know, so we're not even collecting the trading fee. We're not even really order matching. I mean, people go here. They're gonna post to this book, and then they'll find exactly what they look for. They'll get matched here because they're peer to peer. Just like if I search for something on Google and I want to buy, you know, a hat, right? A hat, and then I search, and then all the results for hats will come up, you know. If they're trying to do BTC for, you know, cash for coins, you know, BTC, LTC.
How do I know that they're going to really send it to me?
They can't cheat it because it's double deposit.
Okay, so basically they're going to have to back it up.
Yeah, but they can do it in either currency. You can both agree on doing it in Bitcoin. You can both agree on doing it in Blackcoin. It's just basically that they need a base currency to be higher than the amount, and it doesn't even matter if that base currency fluctuates because it's only insurance. Consider the theory behind double deposit as a way to like completely replace the need for insurance. Instead, you are your own insurance. So both parties put up that, but they don't actually have to think about it. Like, it's going to be like, buy Bitcoin for Litecoin, and then it's going to be like, take them over here and done. They're not going to have to think about price. I'm going to give the ability for people to set market price, so they buy or sell the coin, what price, they type, you know, it'll automatically populate with market. So if you want to sell at market price, great. And it's not going to find the market price here, it'll do it by pulling from all the APIs online. So we might leverage like 5 or 6 different APIs. The actual Night Trader, the Night Trader engine, there's two. There's this engine here, and then there's also a multi-signature exchange, which I'm not showing right now, but we'll debut a little bit later. And this is the fully decentralized one, and then the multi-signature one is more of like an online exchange that also leverages multi-signature and can do some pretty amazing things without anybody ever having to worry about their funds being jeopardized again.
Okay, so that's a basic overview of what's going on in Bithalo. It looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how you're making it easier for people to use, so you don't have to be a nerd to understand what in the world is going on. It's pretty straightforward, and I think if
nobody will ever go to the offer tab. Like to make offers here like I used to have, they can if they want to for just sending privately. But also kind of nice is you can disable any non-market offers. So if you don't feel like you want to hear from people who aren't participating here in this market, you can just filter them. You can filter any spam so that they have to send directly to your Bitcoin or Blackcoin address. That already works, by the way. That's been working since May 29th. And yeah, basically, I might move this piece over here to the contracts tab. We're still working on the UI, and we're going to make it really nice, like the one you saw earlier that I showed you. And yeah, when the first time that they run Halo, everything's just going to set up for them automatically. And they're going to be walked through like step by step, and they'll be asked, do you want to buy your first Bitcoin? And right now we're also talking to Coinbase to strike a deal with them. And there's a good possibility we can run Coinbase for some people like American buyers to buy right through the client.
Okay,
so
sounds good.
Yeah.
Going back to the whole multi-sig staking, do I have to use Bithalo to multi-stake, or can I use any Blackcoin wallet? So when it comes, multi-stake isn't here yet. But
you see here, I switched to Blackhalo just like that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I got that. It's in one.
Right.
Bithalo, Blackhalo is into one. Multi-wallet, like I said. But
right.
The whole multi-staking thing, I can do that in any when it's implemented. I'll be able to use any Blackcoin client to do multi-staking, or do I have to use Bithalo?
No, you have to use Bithalo. I could talk to the Blackcoin developer to see if he wants to put it in his main client. He might, because he's really big buff on security. So maybe he'll want to do that.
Okay, I was just wondering. It sounds. So,
yeah.
All right. So
most likely you'll have to use Blackhalo.
Right. All right. Let's just take us through if we were going to do one of these multi-location stakes, or what did you call it again?
Well, cold staking.
Cold staking. What would we do?
I don't have the tab yet because I just got the update like yesterday.
Okay. Well, then just tell us what you would do then.
All right. So if you had set up the client from day one, multi-signature staking would already be set up. Like you'd have your key at a different location, which you can send. Everything synchronizes through, I'll show you, everything that you do in Halo synchronizes through BitMessage and email. So when you set up an account, well, actually, the BitMessage account sets up automatically. And if you set up an email account, your information and what you want to do when you set up the client is communicated from one client to another. So all you'd have to do is download this and run it from another location. So they download the first one, they go through the setup, and after the setup's going to bring them here, and they're just going to automatically be set up for cold staking on the second they open their second location. So this is going to allow them to password protect a key and automatically unlock it and just stake. I know it sounds like there's going to be a lot to do, but it's going to be like one click.
Okay. Yeah, it does sound like a lot, but I think we're just not used to it. Because it sounds like a really
It's
interesting idea.
it's gonna be like one click. It's gonna be like, would you like to set up multi-signature staking? And people will be like, yes. Okay, run Black Halo on your other location and it'll work magically.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
well, so
basically
again,
what it's gonna be.
why do I want to do this?
Um, because you want to generate interest on your money, like in a bank.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you why not make 1 to 5% a year, depending on what coin you're using, to secure the network. You know what I mean? Why not? All you got to do is keep the client running. And on the mining tab, I'm also considering linking. Well, I am going to be linking that mining tab to our multi-pool,
Mm-hmm.
which Blackcoin was the original multi-pool coin. So that's going to
Right.
be
But I think
applying a lot of pressure upwards on Blackcoin's price,
okay,
because
so
we can give people the
we're gonna
option to mine.
sorry to interrupt. I think we're gonna have to go back. Let's explain what kind of multi-pool you're talking about, because you're not talking about multi-pool where you just aim your miner there and it mines the most profitable coin for you. You're talking about a black coin multi-pool for mining, but black coin is 100% proof of stake coin, right?
Right. So they mine. Blackcoin was the original multi-pool. It was the reason it became really popular in the first place.
So
They mine. They use the mining power from other coins to support their price and apply upward pressure. And back in the day, this made their price absolutely skyrocket. And people got a little crazy with it and took it out of context, and it just started this huge multi-pool craze. But now we have something new. We have a new paradigm shift. Now Blackcoin is the smart contracting coin and the security coin. And we have markets, and people will be able to go to those. And this interaction with the community, the fact that people are going to be interacting, is going to mean that their clients are going to be connected much more frequently. So they'll be staking the network, and you could give them the option to mine and immediately pull coins up on the market, which would cause an arbitrage. And that arbitrage would be beneficial for the entire economy, because it always is. When you trade volume precedes price. So when you have volume on something, that's a good thing. When you see volume drop, that means the price is going to go down. So this is going to encourage a lot of volume, and it's also going to encourage people to use the markets, and yeah, that's our goal. To get people to see cryptocurrency for more than just a speculative tool to make money. Instead, we're trying to get people to see cryptocurrency as a way to completely liberate them from problems. Like,
sure.
Black Halo makes theft impossible. It brings back the old school handshake between two parties, where now they shake hands and then they agree to something, and it happens because they have to honor the deal. They can't break their agreements because of the double escrow. So this is what I'm really trying to popularize.
Okay, well,
And this is kind of to show people how, like, use cases,
yeah, I like that idea. I totally get it. They would have to use this. This has to have some kind of utility other than speculation. That's really important, and
Right.
I like what you're doing. Let's say I want to sell my Techniques record player. All right, and it's worth a few $100. So let's say it's worth $200.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have to deposit $400 worth of the agreed currency.
Not if you're selling. If
If
you're
I'm
buying.
selling, I don't have to do it.
No, if you're selling, you just put up $200. You have an item worth $200, you put up $200.
That's why I put up 200 then. So I've
Now,
got the
if
item.
you're a respected seller, you could probably put up even 100
Yeah,
or
but
less. I mean,
yeah, I get
if
that. I
you've
just
done
want to go through. Let's go through one scenario where I sell something on here and you buy it from
okay,
me, and we don't know each other. I just opened the program
the
like you
account.
showed us, and I go over to market, and I say, okay, you're looking for techniques, and you write in, techniques record player, 1200. All right, I found one. That's a cool price. It says good condition. Okay, I want it, and I say, okay, I want to sell it. So
Right.
I put it up there as an offer, and I also, to back up my offer, I put $200 worth of Bitcoin, let's say.
hmm
Then what do you do?
Um, everything will be handled automatically. So instead of you having to think about or worry about how much you're supposed to be depositing, Bithalo will automatically make that calculation for you and explain that the contract is in fact unbreakable. And of course, it'll confirm it with you. And that will go to market. And when they buy it, so it's going to be like one click. You're going to say, I'm going to sell my record player. Great. If you don't have enough to put up for the deposit, Bithalo will tell you. Like, hey, you want to sell your $200 record player, but you have to put something up to make sure it's an honest trade. And
Okay, I
that's
got
all.
that. That's
It
cool.
goes
I
back.
like it. So it's just going to tell me automatically, hey, this transaction, this offer can't be posted because you got to have more in your wallet.
Or if you do want to post it, you can post it as a custom contract, which it'll probably take you over to here and say, hey,
All right, let's
you can drop your deposits. You could drop them all the way down to $50 if you feel like it. But we just want you to understand, like, okay, so I could say I deposit $5 for my record player, and you deposit $5, and then you send me $200, and I'll release your extra $5. I mean,
Yeah, but let's just go through.
it's
Let's just go through a
if you
real
wanted to.
where I do the full amount.
Right. So you would just click here. You'd sell your record player. The program would immediately create the contract and put it to market. And when it gets picked up and sold, it'll show up right here in your contracts. And when you come here, it'll take you to the contracts tab. It'll take you for you, and it'll highlight it, and it'll say, okay, here you have to sign off on this one. Did you get your record player? Yeah, okay, cool. And then you sign. Boom, done. So the idea is to get, like, my motto is as few clicks as possible. So one click, sell. You come back a day later after you're finished shipping your thing. You're going to come into the client, and it's going to immediately take you over to here. Or it'll have a little pop-up window that you might be able to disable, and it'll say, hey, how'd the contract go? Okay, I'm done. Sign here. And that's it. Right. So
and since both parties are depositing, that's going to motivate them not to game each other.
Right, yeah, and also they're not going to be even considering what those deposits should or should not be. We're going to have some recommended settings that takes the guesswork out of this. And my favorite system has always been basically just everybody just puts in an exact even amount. So I put in the amount, deposit, time, done. You don't need anything else. You don't need the refund because the person here, he's gonna be broadcasting. It's just that simple. If it's a $200 item, it's 200, 200, 200. The person buying puts up 200. They deposit 200. The person selling puts up 200. Once they sell, so he'll be in for 2 and 2. Right? And then he's going to sell. He's going to send that guitar. It's going to get here. Now he has something worth 200. And he's going to be in at 2 to 2. just like a seesaw.
Right. Okay,
They
that's really
have to.
good.
Yeah,
So
it's
a lot
just
of times,
it's like this 200 is just moving from here to here. That's all that's happening.
right.
You see?
Yep. So most
So
people that are talking about smart contracts right now are talking about blockchains, but this is not using a blockchain at all, right?
this is using the blockchain, but it's using a really clever protocol that leverages the blockchain in order to make these deposits happen.
Okay, got it.
So it's just a really clever protocol where I basically figured out that there was a way to make these contracts without completely redesigning Bitcoin. And that's really favorable to the fact that right now we have a young coin economy and people want to be able to make these contracts. But I'd also like to add that no matter how complex smart contracting becomes, double deposit will always be the only way to enforce a contract without law.
Right, without violence, without the
Right, without
threat of violence.
without the force of violence, without the force of throwing somebody, chasing them with a lawyer or trying to get them on, like this is the only way ever you'll be able to work with two parties and perform a contract no matter how complex the technology is. Because if I send you a guitar, you're the only person in the world who can verify that. There's not a computer that can, it's not like a computer can automatically verify that you got the guitar.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's the whole thing with a lot of these contracts is that how are you going to enforce it in the real world?
Right.
Here, what you've done is you've created an incentive for both parties to honor the contract because they've both deposited, and that's the whole concept from what I understand.
Well, actually, we can even create. There's no reason why eventually we can't add a little bit more to it and give like a network incentive that the entire network rewards you with coins upon successfully completed verifiable business deals.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, that can be a little tricky, because
Yeah,
then
that
what
could you
is
could get
what is
maybe.
real,
Yeah, you
what
might
is
be able
fake?
to game it somehow. I might be able to somehow make a lot of small transactions or fake ones or
Mhm.
something in order to do
Right.
that. So I see what you mean. That is really tricky. The whole reputation systems and things like that
hmm
can be
You
gamed.
can game that too.
Yeah,
People
that's
do
what I
it
mean.
all the time.
That's the trick. How are we going to create some kind of reputation system that can't be gamed? It's pretty tough. And right now, you've just done it by double deposit, and it's not a reputation system. It's just that we don't want to lose whatever we've deposited. So that's why we're going to go through with the contract. All right. Well, I'm really curious. So what's up with the bit message inside the client? How are you connecting bit message into the client, and what's the relationship? Because I didn't notice that before.
Okay, so Bitmessage has been around since day one, but Bitmessage was really badly broken, and recently a new version of Bitmessage came by and fixed a specific error where people were able to destroy all the messages on the network. And that problem has been fixed. So now Bitmessage's main problem is spam. And what Bitmessage is basically like where all of the people in the network, they're all broadcasting the message. So you have a message and you just pass it to everybody. And then they start passing it to everybody. And then they start passing it to everybody. And it's really impossible to know who sent the message. It's also impossible to know who it's really going to. The only person that knows is the person that can decrypt the message. See? So you have, just like Bitcoin, an address. Same deal. Except in Bitmessage, there's no financial incentive, whereas in Bitcoin there is. However, we can combine the Bitmessage network and the Blackcoin network to eliminate spam and give people incentives to treat the BitMessage network properly, meaning that we'll have the world's first decentralized messaging client that will be working. And we're going to use this because multiple people can share a BitMessage address, and then that address will allow them to subscribe to channels like Night Trader, or really any channel. So we won't have the only market, we'll just be the main market. And basically anybody would be able to post whatever they want. And it's a completely free market.
Okay, that sounds great. Is this open source? Can I make my can I fork Bithalo and make it for TheoCoin?
You can, however, right now we only do licensing deals, and the source code that we have is obfuscated. So people can see the source, but it would basically look like, hold on, let me see here. There we go.
So basically, you don't charge fees, and
So
the
basically,
way.
this is what the source looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I just chose a bunch of funny names, like little Dogecoin names.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, everybody party on the moon, Shibi. What do you believe? Roller skating polar bears in France. This is basically what you get when you read the source code. Not enough to make your own coin. And that's all I was trying to stop.
Okay, so I can take a look at the code, but you've changed it, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to use it unless I have a license. And is that how you're
Yeah,
making all that? I mean, you're working a lot on this project. I don't know how many.
right.
So that's why I wanted to ask, because you said, you're not this is a purely peer-to-peer platform. You're not taking any fees. And so how is that economically viable? Because of your licensing deals, or how does that work?
No,
Are
I've
y'all going to get
only
really rich on this, or what's the deal?
my goal really wasn't to become rich. I actually have turned down a lot of deals because they weren't good enough. And I do kind of have a policy now that I'm not really supposed to be leaving any more money on the table. So yeah, there is the possibility to license, but that wasn't really the intention when I came in to do this. The intention was to protect the brand so it can grow and so that it can be popular and well known, instead of allowing the brand to be taken and created into 50 different coins and
So basically,
end up giving off the wrong message. Because just like when you can create a tool, but that tool can be used for good or for bad, and what we want to do is we want to make sure that the idea and the purity of double deposit escrow gets spread through the world, and that people understand how many people it can help and how many people it can liberate internationally. This gives people in countries that don't have banking a method of contracting. This gives people who would be in third world countries a method of bartering, where they could have a permanent contract with different people for very little, only enough to have that disincentive to keep people honest in their dealings with each other. So that's the message that we want to promote. And if we do make money along the way, that's great. I mean, of course, we have talked to people about funding and venture capital, and I have a couple associates working for me every single day, trying to find people to fund it, because I know that I'm not leveraged very well, because I have been coding alone.
Right, that's why I wanted to ask, because I just wondered how these things, how people are able to work on them so much, and it's a big question that we've all got to ask. And I totally get that you didn't want, other coins to use the software to make, scam coin of the week with
Yeah.
Bithalo on it or whatever. I get that, because I think that's inevitably in this market what probably would have happened as soon as someone figured out how to compile it and get it all together. Then all of the coins would be like, okay, we want that too, and they would have it too as a gimmick. And then,
Actually, people tried to make it happen. There was multiple parties that tried to reverse engineer my code, and then this is what they got, and rightfully so, because they were trying to steal code. And it just goes to show you that right now the market is a little immature. It's motivated by greed, and when this market grows up and it becomes mature enough for good tech, and when they start respecting the tech behind these coins, then all of a sudden you're going to see coins and developers really getting what they're worth. Like, take guys like Peter Todd or, Andreas Adonopoulos, or I don't know exactly how you say his name, but you have all these guys. They're really, really, really genius. And they're working for basically free. I mean, the Bitcoin Foundation doesn't really get paid anything. I never got paid anything. I never
well,
contracted. In
they
fact,
pay,
I lost.
they pay a few, they pay a few developers. They pay, what's his name, Gav. I know they pay
Is
him.
it?
I don't.
I don't know. I just know that there's a lot of really brilliant developers that are not
Right.
really getting at all what they're worth. I mean, these people should be getting $300,000-400,000 a year. I mean, we're not just talking about gifted programmers. I mean, these guys are incredible, and right now they kind of just help out. I mean, I know a lot of them help out different coins. I mean, I know the developer of Blackcoin, basically he never sold a single coin.
Mm.
And he's just been sitting here quietly making cryptocurrency better. And like, this is how it's been with a lot of us. And I think that paradigm is going to change when the market matures, because every year this gets bigger,
Sure. Yeah.
and every year more competitive. And they're going to see that, oh, we don't have any developers. Nobody's going to school to learn this.
Mm.
I mean, where do you even learn to do this? I was self-taught. I taught myself how to do everything here. Yeah, I think that, and I'm not just speaking from a personal perspective, because I really enjoy what I do, and I think that a lot of people believe in cryptocurrency, and that's what's given me a pretty large group of followers, and that's what's given guys like Gavin and other people who work really hard a very large group of followers. And it really would be nice to see really big dev teams working on coins, that it's not just like a couple of guys getting together to start a new coin. I mean, it would be great if coins started collaborating. You don't see any collaboration amongst coins anymore. I mean, you see it's very cutthroat now, and I don't think that's how it should be. I think that we have so much promise in the market if people can start using their technologies and putting their minds together to solve problems. Because in the current state it's in, Bitcoin needs a tremendous amount of work to be commercially viable and to scale to Visa's level. Aside from just basic problems like the Sybil attack, it just has scalability issues such as bandwidth. I mean, currently there's no coin that can scale to the bandwidth to serve this country without being centralized. So I think if people don't want to see Bitcoin become centralized, they need to solve that problem now and not wait later. And I hope that the market matures so that we can do that.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for today. Thanks for talking to us, David. And if we want to find out a bit about Bithalo, we go to bithalo.org, right?
Yeah, you can go to bithalo.org or blackhalo.info. I also post a lot on Blackcoin on their subreddit, and that's where a majority of our community hangs out. And you can also follow Bithalo official on Twitter. And my associate and my friend and he's the head of marketing. He maintains that account. He's very knowledgeable. You know, knows about every move I make. So.
All right, sounds good. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. It was a pleasure, and thank you for having me on.